sort of prevents, or maybe nothing prevents, folks that are in the middle of schools from being rezoned 3 or 4 or 5 times during their children's education?
Well, and you mean K through 12?
Yes.
Okay, because our plan, I mean, what we're asked to do is to try to make our zoning last for 5 years. And that's what we try to do.
So then nothing prevents that from being rezoned multiple times, K through 12. What you try to do is, once you start
we're talking about a
segment,
particular school, and like we would try not to rezone Ravenwood.
So my question was, and I guess, if you, and I do happen to live over in here somewhere, wherever it is. Anyway, in this area, what prevents in another 4 or 5 years these students that are maybe rezoned for Centennial from being rezoned back to Ravenwood?
I haven't been given that information.
So nothing really prevents that. And the reason I ask is if you build a school,
try hard not to do that.
If you build a school in Knowlesville, which I think is inevitable at some point,
we hope that we will receive funding.
Then when that happens and it pulls other students from this area out towards Knowlesville, and then what would prevent these students from moving back to Ravenwood and this being rezoned?
It just depends on
I'm asking you a question,
all that stuff. It just depends on the enrollment at the time, the feeder system. We're working with that also. We're working with transportation routes. Well, I'll tell you where it is. Fairview.
Okay, there's one.
Fairview.
There's one Fairview system. And one more question. I'm sorry. Why is it not considered an option or alternative to, and I've talked to the commissioners about this too, to raise taxes to build the Hillsborough School, the Knowlesville School now? Why is that such a sin to raise taxes for a county that claims to have the best and does have the best public school system? So if you want to live in this county and send your kids to good public schools, you need to pay extra taxes. If you don't, leave the county.
And doesn't it hurt us to be considered a good school system, but not really if we have to move all the time?
Well,
that's not.
A school board is not a funding body.
Right, I understand.
So
I'm talking to commissioners about that too, and they're like, no, and I'm like, well, because you're an elected official, you don't want to take an unpopular stand with the public. I would gladly pay another, whatever it would be, $10,000 a year or whatever it is, to help my kids' education and to help them stay well educated. I think most people would do that, right? Particularly in this county.
We found our taxes to be
I moved here knowing that taxes
what
were
it was in
high.
Atlanta. We moved to Williamson County 2 years ago. Specifically, schools were a major consideration.
And we did that ourselves when my children were born. So, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I was shocked by how low the taxes were, actually. We're paying half what we paid in Atlanta, where there
I would gladly
very
pay
good
more
schools.
But, we have in our long-range plan still a school building in the Knowlesville area.
I've heard, 5 years, whatever, 4 years or 3 years.
But that depends on when we get funding. And we were told at the last county commission meeting that we attended that we were not going to receive funding for any more buildings, and we needed to fill empty seats.
So basically, they're telling you rezone students as much as you want and affect them as much as you want. We're not going to raise taxes to build an additional school.
That's a question.
I've asked them, and I've gotten their answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they won't answer that directly, but that's really what they're saying.
Susan, in your
Sorry.
It's okay. You're welcome.
Thank you for
coming.
In your professional opinion and experience on this job, if a child goes to, we're rezoned, say the zoning goes through and they go to wherever they go, but they're zoned for Centennial at 6th grade level, do you think they'll actually stay at Centennial?
Meaning they'll stay zoned there?
Yeah, because that's a 6-year.
Well, I can't guarantee that.
Just in your professional opinion, how you kind of see everything moving and how it's going to move. My child starts 6th grade and the zoning goes through. Do you think they'll end up going to Centennial?
Well,
just in your opinion.
I
know you can't predict that.
I would be guessing.
Because you have all the experience.
What we try to do is to have a zoning last for 5